Cam Newton reportedly has financial struggles after retiring from the NFL.
Mm.
I liked Cam when he played.
He was a beast. He was that guy.
He's beast mode. Beast mode. I was a little disappointed that he didn't even towards the end he didn't get some other opportunities, but that's not what this is about.
Right.
Cam Newton doesn't feel like Superman to his 8 kids because he doesn't make as much money. Newton explained in his new reality, I'm going into a different phase of my life that's going to require a different form of myself.
Mm.
Newton said, being in the NFL, everyone knows there's a large sum of money that comes to you in a short span of time. And being away from the game for 3 years, those checks don't come in the same. Like I got 8 kids.
Mm.
It hurts me knowing that I can't provide like I once did. It hurts thinking that I'm Superman, but in reality, I'm just a man.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Wow. Okay,
Man.
let's talk about it.
Man, I mean, I'm not laughing at the situation. It's just funny. Man, because he was Superman on the field for sure. But man, it makes me think about. I feel like we as humans, just naturally, we just think that life, we're just gonna continue getting better steadily. And I mean, I guess ideally, if you want to plan it out, you will continue to make each year. I'm going to make more money. This year I make 50. The next year I make 60. Then 80, 100. I'll make jumps. But I think that this is just a prime example that life doesn't always go the way you plan. It almost never does. But this is an example of, to me, how life operates in seasons, and you got to be aware of that. I mean, literally, we talking about football seasons, but for him, he's describing a season where this is a season that very few humans will get to ever experience. A season where, especially him, he was in that we'll call it top 10% of talent of paid talent. This is a season where, let's say he plays 10 years and he getting paid, keep the math simple, that he can earn up to $100 million in 10 years. I can't think of another career that'll earn that. I can't, except for maybe acting and things of that nature. But I'm talking about something that me and you can go apply on Indeed for. I can't think of nothing that would pay 100. There's probably a role or two out there, some roles, but you get what I'm saying. Like even for those that are in that season, it's just the season though. It's the point. And so you have to be able to, whether you're operating as an individual or you're operating as a business. There are some businesses that was up during COVID. They call it some, it was a pandemic. Some people's calling it a bandemic because they was making money, but some companies really benefited from COVID. And so not that we want the world to stay in lockdown, but it's up to them to figure out a game plan to say, okay, hopefully eventually we all don't have to work from home permanently. We all don't have to wear masks and do the whole pandemic thing. How do we prepare for a world beyond that? How do we continue to provide value? Maybe we can't provide the same amount of value that we provided during the pandemic. Maybe Cam Newton can't provide the same value. I don't even want to say amount wise. He has to provide it in a different way though. If he wants to remain that same Superman, I'm not going to discourage him. He just needs to find a way to go be Superman off the field.
Yeah. I'm gonna go in another direction. I'm gonna go in another direction. I'm gonna say it's not about how much you make. It's about how, and I usually don't go in this direction. I usually like, nah, we probably need like people usually say that because they're catering to people that don't make a lot of money. Let's just keep it real. Let's just keep it real. Because my life changed when I doubled, tripled my income. I'm keeping it real.
Mm-hmm.
Like I budgeted and did all the things and that, but when I started making more money and I had that discipline
Mm,
already of budgeting money and money management, it took off for me. So it wasn't an either or, it was both. But
mm,
in this scenario, the income was there. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep.
yes.
And this scenario, he had both. I'm looking, he made over $133 million in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
He came in at 22, left at 32.
Mm.
Now you got to think about agent fees and all of those things and taxes, depending on where he's at. So you could probably, if I had to guess, that'll probably bring it down to probably about 55 or so. Like, dang, I mean, because you got to understand, that's a job. That's a W-2 job.
Yeah.
He's in the highest tax paying bracket, highest
Hmm.
tax bracket. And so let's just say 55. So now it's that 55, and just for simple math, 55 spread over 10 years.
5, yeah. Mm.
That looks a little bit different, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it hit a little bit different too when you hear sometimes they got the $20 million mansion, they got the this, they got the this. And so, and I would be curious to, uh, I appreciate his openness and talking about it, but then you're not even talking about like endorsements and things of that nature. And so, let's just do some math. Let's just do some math because there are some players that did not spend their on field money. They only spent their off field money.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So let's just say this is crazy conservative. Let's just say over that span, he did not spend his game check.
Right.
And if you just did the rule of four, and we know the stock market actually averaged a little bit more than that, it'll be 2 million. It'll kick off $2 million a year for him, and that's not, and that wouldn't be counting anything else that he got into, like speaking engagements, other business endeavors and all that, like, and that's just stock market, nothing fancy, nothing. And that's why I was telling you earlier, it's like, it don't have to be fancy, like ETF, a market ETF. It's not investment advice, but what I would do is find, just a simple index and just keep it moving. And then if you wanted to get sophisticated and like keep studying, 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 but I find most people want to be the lazy investor. Most people aren't even into it in that way to nerd out and really dig in. Not a judgment. Maybe you work and you got other stuff. You're a professional in another arena. So sometimes some people they just don't want to have to do all that, you know.
Right.
And so I do know that that's the thing. And it's not about how much you make. Sometimes, well, I say it's about both, but in this case, it's about how much you keep.
So Ken, let me ask you this, because majority of us might not ever, none of us ain't gonna ever earn the money the way he did in the NFL. We ain't that good to play football, but some of us might earn money in a different avenue. But this is a lesson that is regardless of the dollar amount. How can we keep more of what we earn? So like maybe we can look at this example and try to think what took that money, where did that money go? You know what I'm saying? And so one of the first thoughts that jumped off the headline for me is 8 kids. But I'm gonna hand it to you. Where else could this money go as well?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely it was definitely the 8 kids. And so clearly, you can't tell a person what to do. I don't think he's married. So for the common person, you can't be moving like that. Like you
No.
cannot be moving like that. It hit a little bit different. You married, y'all doing y'all thing, y'all working together, whether she stay at home or you the breadwinner, and then so you really leaned into your career and maxing that out, or y'all doing it together. She working, you working, and y'all working that thing, and y'all investing, and y'all living, working it out, walking it out, living life together, um, and just being very intentional with your finances. It's what's the word? It's what do they say? It's like 10 or 15% head knowledge. What's the
It's like I know you're talking about like behavior versus the actual
It's the
knowledge.
behavior. It's legitimately the behavior. This stuff is so basic and so simple. It's the emotions that's put on it that leads to a certain behavior or doing it or not doing it. But it's really the behavior. Budget doesn't have an emotion to it. The scale doesn't have an emotion to it. The you put money in your 401k doesn't have have an emotion to it. The actual process of doing that is not an emotion. It's just do it. The opening up a brokerage account and putting money into your brokerage account once you've taken care of all the other stuff. The emergency fund. That's not an emotion. It's no, where the emotion comes in, that is, okay, I can I can go buy this whip.
Yeah.
Hey, ooh, and you get in there, you get car fever, you get. So I already know. Sometimes I won't even go. I don't go like me. If I ain't ready yet, sometimes I will not go. Or if I did go, I'm looking, I'm looking at baby boo. I'm like, look, we are not buying anything again. She's like, nope, we're not.
Mm.
And we just going in there like maybe dream building or like, okay, this will be my next one. When when I hit certain milestones. Because when you get in there, whoo, you be like, ooh, like, man, it seemed like the leather hit there. You sit in there, just sink in. They, oh, here go the key, crank it up. You like,
Yeah.
you crank that thing up, you see all the different gadgets, the new version of everything, and you get to riding around. You like, oh, I feel good. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
and then you get home and it's by remorse.
Ah,
You done played yourself.
yeah.
Or or you get real creative. This what you do. You have something mechanically come up with your car. Like you need to fix something. You got to pay it off car.
Mm. Yeah.
And you
Cash.
and say something come up with the starter. Not here you talking about, man, it just seems like stuff keep happening. I done paid up now. It seem like just stuff keep happening. It's just an inconvenience, man. I think I'm gonna have to get something new. No, pay for that starter at like $500-600
Yeah.
and move on.
But
Yes,
Kenny, two out
it's
of three people ain't got the money. They if this is the month that's gonna take them over that month. They check the check. They can't do
and guess how I know about that story.
it.
I had a paid off car. I was that was uh man, I was dumb. I had a paid off car. I wasn't married at the time. My homegirl D, I hit her up because she was good with her finances. So like she would be sometimes talking your boy off the ledge when I was a little bit more not as mature with my finances. I was pretty decent with my finances, but this one was a so that's the thing. You can actually be pretty decent at saving, kind of decent, and then you do certain things where it's like a 15K, 20K transaction and it's impulsive. Or
Mm.
100,000, 150, $200,000 transaction. So, and then what happens is things start compounding, and before you know it, it's out of control. So in this situation, I called and I'm like, yo, because I used to always bounce stuff off. I'm like, man, and I'm cool. We still cool to this day. I'm like, man, I'm tired of this car, man. I think I'm about to get me a new whip. And she said, boy, it's paid off. Why would you do that? I said, man, I'm tired of trying to get this thing fixed. And I went and got some brand, and I went and financed something, and I traded in the brand new car, and
Yeah.
and after I got it fixed, it was working. It was nothing wrong with the car. I did it, so it's not like, don't do that. Stop lying to yourself. You talking yourself into a new car. Stop playing. You lying. Like, and you playing yourself. You can have that. You can put that money towards something else, and because it's always assets over liabilities.